You should play Final Fantasy 14. Seriously, I think you should. I'm not sponsored by them. I wish I was. But if you're like me and you used to love MMOs, or you do love MMOs, you know, I think you should give it a try. I mean, MMOs have had this trend recently, or lately, right, where we kind of just don't hear about them. Or when we do, it's not really great. I remember before, everyone would be like playing MMOs, everyone loved them, and everyone would be thinking like, what's the next big MMO? You know? Back in the day, there were games like WoW, RuneScape, Ragnarok, Dragonest, all of these games, Everyone would be playing these games and talking about like, doing this quest, meeting up with their friends, doing raids and all of that stuff, but it just hasn't really been the same. And since that era, I just really haven't jumped back into an MMO as much as I would love to. I mean, recently there have been newer games, things like Lost Ark, New World, Black Desert, but none of them have really appealed to me all that much. Even games like Guild Wars 2, which I've heard like really great things about, I just didn't really feel like jumping into them, mostly because they've already been out for too long, or it's just, I feel like they might have just started like building up marketing or making it free to play because of the fact that the game's just not really hitting those numbers anymore. But then I thought to myself, maybe thinking that kind of way is just stopping me from trying something that I might really enjoy. I mean, I did try Lost Ark a while back, but it just didn't really stick. But I've always heard really great things about Final Fantasy 14. And now that I think about it, I didn't really hear anything particularly bad about it. I just haven't really heard a big boom about it. So I heard about the free trial and I decided to give it a try. And to be honest, I think I'm really starting to love it. I've been playing the game a lot over on my Twitch, twitch.tv/Jouzunick. And honestly, I've had a really great time. The story is good. It's a classic Final Fantasy style where it's like you're the hero and like you need the Warrior of Light and crystals and you need to fight the bad evil. But it does feel interesting in the way that they tell it. There's a bunch of countries and there's a lot of like problems going on. The world feels very big and vast, and the scale of the game just keeps it so interesting that you want to see how the conflict is going to go about it and how it's going to get resolved, even though you know it will get resolved, right? Because that's just how games go. But you want to see and you want to experience how it's going to happen. The combat is what MMOs do best. It's just skill, style, and skill order, where it's just you pick what kind of class or role fits you the most, and most of the combat is doing your role properly. Just being able to do the most damage, or be the best tank, be the best support, and being able to use your skills in the correct order in the most efficient manner. You don't have to do those things, but if you're the type of person that loves to be like super sweaty when it comes to games, then you're gonna love that kind of thing. And one of the things that really scared me going into it is like, how has it aged and how does the game feel for a new player? Because this game's 14 years old. It's pretty old for a game. It came out in 2010. 2010 was 14 years ago. Wow. But it still looks good for what it is, compared to other games like maybe like RuneScape or WoW. This game looks still very polished. graphic wise. And you know, the music, Final Fantasy does what Final Fantasy does best. The music is still really good. But other than that, I mean, of course, there are like some things that aren't really the best about it. It's not a perfect game by any means. You one of the things that a lot of like people that are really sweaty or grindy in MMOs, what they're not gonna like about Final Fantasy is that it is a bit how do I put this, on the rails. So I have seen that like you can't really customize your stats. My friend complained about this as well, where your stats are pretty much predetermined. Your stats will depend on what class you're using, and then what character you chose, what equipment you're using, and then a lot of it is just about how you use your character efficiently. The reason why they did this, I'm not too sure. I just saw something about this on a Reddit post. They mentioned that there was a issue about meta, and there was just like meta builds on certain stats, and like maybe there was no diversity, so maybe that's why they decided to patch it that way. I'm not exactly too sure. It's just something I read very briefly, but that's mostly how you get your stats down. So that's one of the complaints that a lot of, well, not a lot, but some people have said. And some other quality of life stuff would be great, like certain menu or HUD stuff. Like this could just be a me thing, but like there have been times where I accidentally remove a skill from my hotbar, and then at first, right when this first happened to me, I didn't really know how to get it back. For the main skills, anyways, right? But like for like there's a skill to sprint, and I accidentally removed it before, and I didn't know how to get it back. I had an idea it was in the skill page, but I kept looking for it and I couldn't find it for some reason. But apparently it was just there. That's why I was under a certain tab. It was a little difficult, but that's just a small thing. Another thing would be just like HUDs in general. I remember at a certain point of the game, like all MMOs, you get like a lot of skills. And sometimes you need more than one hotbar for it. Sometimes you need two, sometimes you need four. And the game gives you two from the get-go, but you are allowed to add more. But they don't really tell you how. And it's not really the easiest thing in the world to find. Maybe, or maybe I'm just stupid, but I had to kind of like look it up on how to exactly do it because I didn't want to mess anything up. I have read that like some people are complaining about like some of the things that you could do for management and for like menu stuff. I didn't dive too much into it, but a lot of people are mentioning that they would prefer that they made this simpler, or that made this more obvious, or that they made it, they would actually tell you that you could do certain things that like you might not know. I've heard there's even like guides, like guide series on YouTube telling you that you can turn or enable certain things on and off to make things better. I don't even know what those things are, but thinking about that I have to look that up sounds dreadful. But I'm not gonna stress too much about that. The general experience overall is still very good, so I don't have any complaints about that. But honestly, what inspired me the most to make this video was that I really loved the social aspect of Final Fantasy. Most of the times you hear about all of like these toxic communities with all of these things, but honestly, playing Final Fantasy, I've met some really cool people. I would have fun just like going around. We would share like this car mount that like 4 people can ride. You can like fly around places, and then we would kill certain mobs to grind a certain event quest. Which, by the way, there are some events which I think is really cool that Square does. Since I've been playing a lot of gacha games, they allow the events to just rotate every now and then. I think that's cool. I think that it's nice that they're allowing players to experience, well, new players to experience old events. And old players seem to have a lot of fun doing a lot of things in the game too. One of the people I've met in the game had been playing the game for 4 years, so they seem to be having a blast. But I just kind of miss that kind of experience, you know, the kind of experience where you get to just like hop on a game and like meet a bunch of cool people, get to hang out, do quests and raids together, especially in the world of like Genshin Impact and other big gacha games that are like taking over the market right now, which focus more on solo play. I just really think that the social aspect in Final Fantasy or in MMOs are just really great. I mean, now we have things like VR chat, which is a whole different kind of thing that maybe I don't want to tackle. I can't really talk too much about the PvP because I haven't really tried PvP, because I've never really been a big PvP kind of guy. But speaking of the social aspects in Final Fantasy, like Square, come on. I don't know what you thought of. I don't know why you decided to lock social features in the free trial version. Like, why can't I just like hang out with my friend? You know? Why can't I just like be able to message him and like do quests? Why do I have to like hop on a Discord call and then like act like we're meeting up in real life back in like the early 2000s, where we're like just like telling each other, oh, we're gonna meet here at like this place, and then like hopefully we can see each other, you know? But that is, other than that, change that and add some more quality of life features to make your game look or feel better. You know, the menu stuff can be difficult if you don't know what you're doing, and sometimes you have to Google a lot of things about it. But the game's still really great. The gameplay, the visuals, the music, story, everything feels really, really fun. And I think the community would be, you know, it would benefit from having more great people joining it. So if you're a person that loves and misses MMOs, and you know, you're not gonna be like, you're not gonna mess around, you know, you're just gonna be like a nice chill person, go ahead, pick up the game. I think the community would be great to have more people in it. I think that it's a shame that a lot of people, or a lot more people, are talking about this game. I think it's really, really good. So if you like this video and you'd like to see more of me, or you know, you'd like to see me talk about more stuff, why not give a like this video, maybe we'll subscribe, and just let me know in the comments below if there's anything else you want to hear more about from me. Like to maybe see more Final Fantasy 14 content, I'd be okay with that too. And if you want, you could also come hang out at my twitch.tv/Jouzunick, and we could chat, we could play some games, you know. But until then, I will see you guys next time.